Alright guys, I'm back again, and today this is the top 10 things that you will need to run an eBay store. I would consider all of these basically essential to having a successful store. Obviously you can make compromises on some of these things to start out, but later on you will probably need to upgrade to better supplies. One of the main things that you will need is something to ship off of. So whether that be would prefer a computer for sure. It makes it way easier with printers and stuff. You can technically use your phone, and that's not something I've ever done. So I would recommend a computer. It could be a laptop, it could be a desktop, whatever you really want. I use a little Lenovo ThinkCenter little thing, and it works really good. Next thing you will need is a scale of some kind. Again, this is a very cheap one, easy to find on Amazon. You don't need anything fancy in terms of the scale. It's just to weigh the boxes when you're shipping, obviously, and yeah, you're going to need that because you can't be guessing on the weights. You could bring this stuff to the post office and have them make you labels, but then you're going to end up paying way more, and it's just not worth it. Just buy the $20 scale, and you're going to save literally thousands and thousands of dollars, depending on how big you go. The next thing you will need is somewhere that you can take pictures that has good lighting. You can buy a photo booth, as you see here, and those are very nice. They're going to help you. You're going to have great lighting, great even lighting all around the object, and it's going to look really good. Obviously, in the beginning, I wouldn't really recommend it. I just start off on the ground with a light behind you or something like that. That should do the job, but you definitely could upgrade to a photo booth. I highly would recommend it. They're not super expensive. Like this one was like around $100. And yeah, it's definitely worth it. My next thing would be a thermal label printer. So this will save you a lot of money in the long term. If you just plan on selling a couple of things on eBay, you don't need to worry about this. Just use your standard inkjet printer. But if you are trying to do any kind of quantity at all, you're going to be tearing through ink cartridges, so you don't want to do that. So get a thermal printer. I believe these are a couple $100s now. They used to be a lot cheaper than that. I have a Rollo, the wired USB one, because I'm not using my phone, I'm using a computer, so you can save money there. And yeah, it's worked really well. I've had zero issues, printed thousands and thousands of labels, and it works amazing. Saves you money on not having to buy ink and no paper jams and stuff like that. So it's just definitely something to do, and will save you a lot of time in the long term. My next thing will be I guess I'd call it shipping utensils. I don't know, but like scissors you're gonna need. You're gonna need some tape, obviously, to ship things. And yeah, I mean, that's really about it. I also have a thing to mark out labels that are on boxes. I use a lot of reused boxes, and that can also be useful as well. My next thing would be the boxes themselves. You're gonna need boxes or bubble mailers to put things in. You can't just slap a label on something and send it in the mail. You got to put it in something. You got to keep it protected, especially. So you're going to need something like that. So I definitely like to have a good supply of both. If you're doing some small, less fragile items, you just throw them in a bubble mailer or wrap them in bubble wrap, throw them in a bubble mailer, and you're good to go. And same with the box. You wrap it in bubble wrap and put some filler in there. And that brings me into my next point, which is things to actually protect the item. So you're going to need lots of bubble wrap. Don't skimp out on this, especially if you're selling things that are fragile. Just make sure you wrap your items good. You want to keep your buyers happy and make sure things don't get damaged, because that's not what you want to deal with. As well as brown packing paper is amazing for filling box space and just adding more protection to items that need it. As well as you can use, old newspapers, old grocery bags. I do that a lot, and just, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be fancy. Old Christmas wrapping paper, use that too. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, just kind of filler material is really important. You don't want to just wrap something in bubble wrap, throw it in a box, and have it shaken all around. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of using the box. So yeah, just make sure you're when you put something in a box and you shake it, it should not be able to really move much. So if you're shaking your box after you're done taping it up and it's moving all over, take that tape off and add some more packing material in there. It's not enough. My next thing would be you're going to need some shelving. You're going to need some kind of way to organize your things. Shelving is a great way to do that. You're really utilizing like the height of the space that you're in. You're going to need to, as you're going to see, especially as you grow bigger and bigger and bigger, you're going to need space. Is definitely always an issue with this business. It always has, at least been for me. And yeah, when you're starting out, you're not going to have a big amount of space. So if you're just starting, just get one shelf and put all your stuff on there, and it'll just be so much easier to keep organized. One smaller thing that is definitely not essential would be a tape gun. This would be especially useful if you're shipping a lot of bigger things in boxes. I was kind of hesitant buying one of these at first, even though, they're not much money, but kind of a cheap ass, and I was like, you don't need it. But eventually I did pull the trigger, and wow, this thing actually speeds up the shipping process greatly. And yeah, it's just really helpful, and you could just it really just speeds up the whole process of shipping items. And yeah, that's it. That's basically all you're gonna need to get up and running on eBay. This video obviously is made for like more beginners. If you're already an eBay seller, you already know these things. So this is just for the people that are considering starting out and don't really know what exactly you need. You don't really need a whole lot. You're gonna be able to sell your items better if you are gonna have better pictures. I mean, pictures are important. They're not a end all be all. Same thing with the printer. You don't need a fancy printer, but it definitely help out. That's really it. That's really all I have for this video. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, I hope you learned something that you can use for your own business. And thanks so much for watching. Bye.